All right, hello everybody, and I'm hoping the audio is coming in okay. I've done some some work on the computer. I have one of the reasons that I didn't get to stream last week was that I managed to step part of my computer into the 21st somewhat century. Um, I managed to upgrade my motherboard, a CPU, and got I guess a normal amount of RAM for the current times. And that kind of resulted into this little error message down here with deactivate Windows because they don't like it when you upgrade a machine you bought from somebody else, and they want you to reactivate Windows. So that guy has it, but who knows? Anyways, and yeah, so part of that, a lot of stuff happening around the house, some roofing work that I had to do, and that wasn't fun. So that's why I kind of got set back with some things. But I did manage to do some work on the project as well, which I'm kind of excited about because I've wanted to refine this like hand-to-hand combat for a while when it comes to dealing with enemies. And yeah, let me show you what's going on. Let's see. All right, so just going into game mode here. And you've probably seen this before, some of the NPCs just doing their little thing there, their activities. But yeah, the main thing is once um, you have an enemy, right? And let me just minimize some because I have so many tabs open for Unreal. It's unreal. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, once you're in the game, right? And depending on how you approach the enemy, the hands will. I mean, it's kind of abrupt, so I need to change um, that blending. But the hands will turn into either like a stealth takedown, or if you want to go like fisticuffs type of thing, it will go into like a full on kind of, fist up type of thing. And then you can like start punching. The only thing is at the moment the animations are pretty honky, but I need to fix that, so that shouldn't be too much. It's just part of the retargeting that I didn't spend the time. These were some animations for like the new mannequin Manny from um, Unreal Engine 5. So yeah, at this point, it's just gonna follow the regular combat. Of course, this is when you don't have another weapon equipped, so I just need to work that distinction in. So if you do have a weapon equipped, that's when you actually need to get into the combat with that weapon, of course, dealing the damage. All right, and then there is the stealth takedown, like from back where, of course, and I guess the hands are kind of going through the body. I need to, I think, pull them in a little bit closer. And these are just, animations. They're probably more pertaining to a third character, but yeah. So once um, you're doing like a stealth takedown, and they'd go down. The only thing I think with the stealth takedown, I did not set it so that it actually kills the opponent. Let me see if I can adjust that real quick. Where was that? The input graph. And it should have. Um, it should have dealt with the enemy. I'll need to look into it just to make sure that uh, the enemy is set into like the ragdoll state. Let me see what I'm missing here. So if anybody's wondering, the package that I'm using is this basic melee combat system. So I was able to work that in with ALS. That's what took me a little bit longer. They don't really have a guide necessarily for ALS, and um, that's why I had to do some work on the background, like just going through the entire package and adjusting animations, and like these stances, it doesn't have the stances. It doesn't have the kind of the stealth takedown type of thing, so if you approach the player from the back, you can like take them out with a stealth attack. And if you're if you're facing them, then you actually go into the fisticuffs, kind of, you know, let's punch it up. Hey, Chatty, welcome, welcome. Doing okay, doing okay. Nice to see you still working on your stuff. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, definitely still am, but like I said, there is the thing of the real life type of stuff. Like this week was a lot of actual roofing work that I had to do on my house, and it's fun. It's taking a break from other things, but takes away time from other things as well. All right. Yeah, let me figure out what's going on when it comes to this to the stealth takedown. One second. Where did I put it? Yeah, so the thing with this package is it's quite complex, right? So there's quite a lot of mechanics going on, when it comes from attacking, whether it's attacking from the front, from the side, the reactions of the enemy, the dealing the damage. And I am trying to find real quick the part where the defeated happen. So it might not look perfect at the moment, but I just wanted to show you how it would be once you attack it from, you know, like a stealth attack. So, well, basically it played the kind of the enemy death animation early, so that's something that I need to fix. But yeah, so they end up dead. And of course, there's still this little thing that I need to fix. So once, I'm not entirely sure why that happened just there, but once, yeah, see, like, I think there's definitely a delay that I need to figure out. Oh, hey, Maxim, welcome, welcome. How are you? Welcome, welcome to the stream. Nice to have you. And so let me check this out here real quick, just to see if I can play that animation a little bit better and not have the enemy die right after you kind of interact with it. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. This is kind of how the stream is. And okay, that's a little bit better. And let's see, does it flicker again? So there's the flicker. I'm kind of wondering why that is. I'm gonna need to figure that out. Yeah, doing okay. This is like I said, this is the project. I usually what I do is I show some updates from the last stream, and in this case was this kind of combat. And yeah, so once the enemy sees you, he's gonna also kind of put his fist up and then try to follow you along. And once you're within a certain range, you're gonna put your fist up as well, and then kind of be able to, duke it out. And like I said, I need to. If you go into third person, you'll see like the animations are way exaggerated, and that's why in first person they look pretty weird. But But yeah, so once this is happening, um, you'll deal damage and then take them out. And yeah, there he goes. I think what's going on, it's still, yeah, see, this is, it's got to be something that's happening with what I'm assuming is with the AI, like the behavior tree, where it's still thinking there's something going on, and instead of like, the behavior trees have a brain component, is what they call a brain component, and that's what kind of directs all the stuff that's happening in the behavior tree. And I'm thinking with this package, it doesn't end the behavior tree right at the right where it's supposed to. So I'm just going to need to look into that. But these are just refinements that I need to do. So now all these enemies are kind of fair game. They can you can interact with them and actually um, take them out silently or depending on your choice. All right. Yeah. So that was one of the updates. I think the other one, I've shown it a while back, is using the navigation invokers. So what that does is, and this is for people that might have not seen it yet, when we have like a open world game, even just sort of open world, doesn't have to be fully, giant map or anything like that. But a way to optimize things is by using these navigation invokers. So what that does is on the main character, which let's take a look at mine here, there's a component called a navigation invoker. And of course, what you'll need in your world, you will need the navigation bounds, mesh bounds volume. But what happens, let's just jump into game mode real quick, is, um, and let me exit. So you will see that even though my navigation mesh almost encompasses the map, the only stuff that's actually getting processed is within the space. So if I was to move the character, let's move him somewhere over here, you'll see that this updates, and then these other fellows, oops, and I actually got into like a discussion with the security camera, and so none of them get any updates, so they don't get processed. So let me move it back. All right, and jump into game. Oh, and that was, and there you go. These guys they're doing their things again. They're running their little activities. Oh, thank you so much, Maxim. And we'll jump into the main map because that was the second part of the. Thank you, appreciate it. And we'll jump into the main. This is kind of just a test level where I'm you know implementing things and testing out stuff. And I usually just, like I said, I show the beginning of the stream. I show the updates, and because the all the backend stuff, it doesn't it's not very high visual impact, but these are something that I wanted to share, and if people have questions, it's good to answer them. And yeah, I think maybe another update, not sure if I've shown this last time, is I've played around with kind of selecting the vegetation for like the open fields. And this is kind of what I ended up with, this selection of grasses and bushes, some flowers, and all of this is again just procedural stuff based on the landscape layer, and of course kind of combined with the trees. Yeah, like I said, I don't think I've shown this part, but But yeah, there's a combination of some Megascan assets with some assets that I had from some free packages on the marketplace from a while, since that I had them for a while. And went about try to edit some of the shaders to give a little bit of like a kind of a color variety across the field itself. Like you see, there's some that are like a little bit of a different shade of green, and some of them that might look a little bit dried out. And yeah, so that's from the visual level design side of things. But yeah, so that was the combat. Let's jump. I think for the remaining of the stream, the what I usually do is just some level design, and hopefully that should be a little bit more visually pleasing. So let's jump into that. And I'm hoping by tomorrow's stream, I do have a plan for today after ending the stream to get back on the roof and hopefully finish that stuff that I was working on for the past few evenings. And hopefully I'll get some time by tomorrow's stream. I'm hoping to do a stream tomorrow as well to refine the combat section, where you interact with with the stealth takedown, as well as replacing those animations with something that looks a little bit smoother. It's not that it doesn't look like it's having a seizure or something like that. This game might trigger epilepsy, seizures, but not due to flashing images, but due to combat animations. Yeah, I don't want that. And hopefully, I have a good set of animations that thankfully Epic has this monthly free set of assets, and I know I have quite a few that will probably be useful. All right, so this is the main world. Maxim, I don't think you've seen this yet, but yeah, this is gonna be. Let me just dismiss this here. So this is the kind of the main environment. Over here, just as a kind of a overlook of the map. Um, it's the playable area. It's gonna be about 2 by 2 kilometers, so everything that's navigable. And let me kind of close some of these. I have a couple of dozen tabs open, as you can see across the top here, and that kind of bogs down performance as well. So, okay. And yeah, there's a bunch of locations on the map, and of course, once you interact with the NPCs, where you're gonna find them. There's let me see. So this is kind of where the dam is, like the power dam. Oh, and I didn't realize that. Yeah, there's gonna be some shader compilations, which of course Unreal doesn't really wants to show it all the time, but I guess that's why it was like taking a little bit of time to process. Okay, yeah, so there's the dam with the interior of the dam, of course, where there's like mechanical rooms and like places where some of the NPCs have taken refuge. There's let's see, kind of the little town area around here with some of the houses. And yeah, there's like the shaders still compiling somewhere in the background that again, Unreal doesn't like to show at times. And kind of just the little area of town with gas station, convenience store, like a laundromat, a motel. There's some like bus stops, just to kind of make the world kind of feel so that you feel like it's lived in. There's a little bit of a mobile home area, and let's see. Over here, there's like a little bit of a kind of like a small village, and I mean just like shacks and stuff, just like next to this little pond. And this were kind of the main let's say bad people are going to be holding some of the people hostage for their own good, of course, as usual. There's also like a cave system around here where that can link between some of these areas. Since this is like an industrial park, there's also like a mine exploitation at the end of it down here. So I can take you through it a little bit. If I can navigate, find where I'm at. There we go. And yeah, this is their shaders still processing. Oh my God. I wish it would just like have that um, show properly, but sometimes something that I've discovered is since the logging is not, you know, is far from perfect, um, sometimes this little console command is useful to enable all screen messages because like I would debug like AI at one time, but then it would not show my regular like print string messages. And once you use this enable all screen messages, that should work for you. Maxim, how much time do you spend developing this game per day? Well, it depends because you know, depending on how good the day went when it comes to my day job, I have more or less time. So some days I have no time, and some days I spend maybe 2, 3 hours. Yeah, so it's a part-time thing. I would say maybe um, if coming winter, I don't do any stuff outside. I don't do any winter sports. They're really expensive, and I don't really, you know, like the cold or being in the cold that much on some skis or snowboard. And so I do get some more times to spend on that. In the summer, you know, it's nice out, and I do like to go biking or ride my bike or, you know, play basketball or some other things. So yeah, less time in the summertime, right? So I think overall in a week, I do try to spend at least hit part-time, you know, like try to hit 20 hours a week. But yeah, they might be spread out across different days, different hours. And like there's weeks like this past week, week and a half, where there's stuff that I needed to do around the house. So that kind of, as you've seen, I wasn't able to stream last week. Um, yeah. Okay. So like I said, there's the mine area, and yeah, I guess around here it finally caught up with some of the shaders, and this one links into the cave area. Let me see where that's gonna end up. Am I in the right place? Oh yeah, I think I'm getting close to it. Maybe. Let me find my bearings here in the cave. Oh yeah. Uh, oh, I thought I did find my bearings, but I got lost. Oh, there you go. And that's kind of sometimes it's tough with some of these environments. It's kind of like going from one section of it to the next, and especially with this part here where you can actually go into the mine from the cave areas. It makes it because they're like just really narrow passages. It makes it a little hard to find. But um, but yeah, and this is like I said, this is the kind of the cave area that I mentioned a little earlier. That's gonna end up throughout that, and that you can kind of come through here. And oh my God, it's kind of lagging horribly. I'm not sure what was going on. I think it might be the stream. And then you can exit the cave through here into this open field. And what and yeah, it's, part of the lagging is the shader compilation. Now I guess the kind of the ground logs shader got compiled, And if you remember from when I was like flying through earlier, these walls were not yet, the shaders were not yet compiled either. So that definitely takes a toll. Yeah, see like this one right here, the shader is not compiled just yet, but I have no indication whether it's like in the process of being compiled. I I'm planning to also upgrade to 5.3 for Unreal Engine, hopefully this coming week, and hopefully that's gonna get some kind of performance updates because I think 5.2 was you know definitely not there. Okay, now the plan that I had for the level design for this stream was to create a little bit of a parking area somewhere next to where the caves are, just so that it'd be kind of like an area to explore, right? It wouldn't be because I mean they're pretty close to the road, so I can see that these would be my plan is to also have these patrolled because they would be like kind of a little like an attraction point, right, to the area, like a cave system where people can, you know, go and hike and explore. So the plan was to on the side of the road here, and yeah, these shaders are still being compiled, to create like a parking lot and with a few cars, kind of get the idea that some people might have taken shelter there, might have hid in the cave, and some of these soldiers went out looking for them. Okay, and yeah, with that said, let's get to it. I'm thinking the um, the parking lot could be somewhere right here in this area. Not sure if I should put it across the street, but yeah, let's see what let's play with it, see what works better for this. All right, first I wanted to, because I believe I already had a section of parking lot already in place. Depends on whether I can find it or not. I hope I will, because I actually just uh, went went by it as I was playing around with some of these grasses, and I think it's oh right there we go. It's I kind of remember having it close to where the this little bus stop is, right? Um, hey, Infinito, welcome. I never asked, but is the terrain and the foliage made with mega scans? So some of the it's a mishmash melting pot of things. Let's put it that way. I'm not using Aaron Erasmus. I am not using Brushify. I it's this is a shader that I've had parts of it. So I've had my own shader that I made a tutorial about some time ago, and then I used parts of a shader from the package that the trees are from, which is the Nordic conifer biome, because they all had great parts, right? There's a lot of great assets on the marketplace, but to me, I just, you know, I in the end I ended up making what I like. So I took some parts from the Nordic conifer biome. Then I took some parts from my shader because my tutorial with the shader also has runtime virtual textures. So I wanted to be able to have like runtime virtual textures in the terrain. And let me see if I can give you an example of where I'm using that. Can I remember? Oh yeah. Let me go to. I know there's some assets there that are using the runtime virtual textures, and I think, yeah, these rocks here, I think they might be using it, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check. At least just to give you an idea of and people that don't really know what a runtime virtual texture is. So basically, what you have is let me place it by the road over here. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. It's kind of a not that big of a mesh. So let me increase the size. Okay. So what it does is it helps with the blending between these assets. So if you look at this mesh itself, you'll see that there's some areas of it that are just sampling from the landscape, right? So like around here, um, and if I was to turn off this feature, let me just move this to the side real quick. So what it would look like is like this, right? You'll see kind of like these hard edges where and you know, this particular asset is pretty noisy, so it's not gonna, um, eh, you know, you might not be able to be like, oh, you know what, it's still fine. But I do like it when you actually blend it with the terrain and it's got these areas where, you know, it really feels like the grass is coming up onto the rocks. And so that's what it does, and that's why um, I ended up, when it comes to the terrain shader material, to blend things together. The textures for the terrain, they are still from that Nordic conifer biome pack. As far as the undergrowth, like I said, it's all landscape grasses. So I ended up just, you know, taking some of the stuff that the Nordic conifer biome had and, you know, um, adjusting that. Yeah, it looks much better with the blending, right? And I do like it. The only thing is, you know, kind of use in moderation because it does add to the complexity of the shader, and that's one thing to keep in mind, you know. It does add quite a lot of extra instructions. So, you know, I'm not going to be using it everywhere, and it doesn't really pertain to vertical meshes either. So like for trees, you can't really use it because, you know, it's just like a vertical mesh. For these flatter assets, you know, like when it comes to these like flatter rocks and stuff, I think it works pretty well. So yeah, where else? I think I might have used oh, finally these shaders compiled. I think I might have used that one in a different location as well. Um, hmm, yeah, I can't recall at the moment, but anyways, so let's resume. Oh, look, the houses are also in place, and these are gonna need some help with the terrain as well, but at least everything is in place so far. All right, let's take a look and see if I can find that where that parking area was, because it did have quite a few parts already placed into it. Oh, hey, that's one of the things that I have yet to upgrade my GPU. What I did upgrade, and that's another reason I mentioned earlier that I didn't get to stream, was I upgraded my CPU. I got 32 gigs of RAM and my motherboard because because the whatever generation I had, of course, was not going to fit with anything new. But yeah, I got some good deals on it. The GPU I'm still holding off on because the GPU would have be um, uh, like I think your RTX. Okay, so I have a GTX 1070. It's like one of the first generations, and yeah, so I think an RTX 3080 is probably more expensive than my entire motherboard, CPU upgrade with the fan and the um, and the RAM. So I went with that one first, and then I'm gonna hold off until upgrading the um, upgrading the video card. Okay, let's see. Can we find that parking area? I hope. Oh, hey, hey, Atlantica, how are you? Welcome. Uh, yeah, from 1660 to 4060. I think that's a pretty good jump. Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, that's good. That's good. And welcome to the stream. Not sure if I've said that. Yeah, in my case, I wanted um to use the 1070 kind of as a benchmark as well. Kind of if I get the 1070 to run, you know, w well enough, I think most other people are going to be able to run it just as good. So yeah. All right. Where did that park? Did I actually have it as a separate level? I sure hope so. Maybe I did not. Ooh, a small parking lot. I think that might be it. Yeah, and Chad, I actually found so what I did get, I got the 12th generation. I didn't go for the 13 because the 12 was I managed to get it on a like a really good sale. And yeah, so 12th generation i7. Well, all right, let's actually load this level instance. And this one is going to be the small parking lot 2. I'm wondering if this is it. I think that might be it, actually. Oh, well, hey, Finito, I want that kind of a friend, to be honest. Oh yeah, there it is. I have the parking lot. This is great. Though, um, was this the one that I wanted to use? Let me try this other one, which is where? Which is in the right place. Wouldn't you know it? That's awesome, I think. Oh, it is. It is it? Yes, that's it. That's it. Perfect. So there's like a simple parking lot that's going to be like kind of a these little parking lots, park and ride. You just park there your car and then you take the bus into the city, so to speak. And that's the whole point. Let me do one thing that I've learned, and this is actually really useful in case of these level instances, is to set the pivot here. And now I can just manipulate it from here, which is very helpful. Oh, Atlantic, yeah, it's 4090. I mean, what is that? That's like $1,000 or something like that, 1,200 bucks. I think that's a little bit, yeah, kind of. I mean, I wouldn't say out there because it's, a really good one, but it's kind of out there. It's a pretty expensive one. All right. Well, so since I've placed this in here, I am going to use it as this location around here, like on the side of the road, on the like on the street here. Oh my God, 1700, 2000. Yeah, that's but I mean, yeah, nowadays everything is more expensive, I think. So I'm not sure how long until I'm hoping the prices will drop for these things as well. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Starting at 1600. Well, still. Oh, and yeah, actually, this reminds me. This is the perfect example of where I got to use um, the runtime virtual textures, and that is especially when it comes to blending between some of these man-made areas and and the terrain. So let me make this a little taller here. And one thing that you'll notice here that I'm still trying to figure out, I have a distance blending on some of these layers. And they, I'm not sure why, but when it comes to grabbing the information for the runtime virtual texture, it uses the distance, kind of the distance option of the distance blending. And so I'm still in the process of figuring that out. And in the meantime, what I did, since not all of them have this distance blending applied, I've been just using one of the layers that doesn't, in this case, just grass. So I'm going to paint some grass on top of this here, and hopefully that's going to alleviate the issue. And like I said, this is where the this blending really helps, I think, because it as you can see, and now that the tiling might not be perfect, but it kind of helps with the blend into that grassy area, and you can't really tell where the mesh itself ends and where the landscape begins. And this is another example. Like for example, if I was to, let's go in here, and I'll grab one of these meshes, and let's edit this ground grass, which is the one for that plane on the side of the parking lot. Let me close out of this. Okay, and I think so. I've got the material open. I can go ahead and just commit the changes for this, so that way we only see this edge a little bit better. So for things like this, kind of without it, this is how it looks. And yeah, you can see the edge pretty harshly there. And with it, where is it? And that I think that looks quite a bit better. So having this other layer, um, I'm gonna spend a little bit of time at some point to try and figure out what's going on with that distance blending and why does it cause this to happen on the runtime virtual texture. But other than that, I'm pretty fine with just adding some just regular grass alongside where it's where this is happening. There we go. And maybe paint some more around here. And just as usual, I'm just going to use this brush to to have like this little noise material that I can paint some grass to kind of blend that in with the rest of the rest of the mossy area here. And probably, I mean, this is going to be forested. So let's paint some of the mulch, which the mulch is where the layer that the procedural foliage volumes are painting are painting the trees. So let's get some of that around here, kind of on this side to the corner. There we go. Well, so in my case, yeah, I mean, why not? It's I could potentially add another one. I'm still debating this. There's like for my there's you know, and this is the I'm still trying it out, let's say that. But for the dam, so if you go inside of the dam, like this landscape, this is a separate landscape that is in that level instance, and this one uses a different material because different textures, and the same goes for the cave. The cave also has a different landscape. And what I'm still experimenting with is trying to figure out from a performance standpoint if that's a huge impact or if I should just add two extra layers to my main landscape, namely for the cave areas and for the dam parking areas. So I'm still testing that out. Let me put it that way. But yeah, that's the reason that I only have, 5 layers. Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking as well. That's what I'm thinking as well, and that might be the case. And it's pretty easy with the current setup of the material to just add another material function for some of some of the other layers. That should be easy to do. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's actually, since I have this in place, let me paint. Actually, then so let me paint the path. The path doesn't have anything on it, and it removes all the landscape vegetation. So let me paint this around here, so I can remove all the um, and paint some of this. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, definitely join Discord. There's um, sometimes, people ask questions, and it's good to have other people with experience that might be able to help if I'm not around. Because, like I said, I I love answering questions, but I'm I'm not around 24/7. So if and I usually post the the streams in there as well. I'm not sure if there's the notifications are coming through when it comes to YouTube, to posting a stream on YouTube. And also I don't post it uh, very far in advance, which might be a better idea to kind of post it maybe the day prior, right? Instead of posting it an hour and a half before the stream starts. Maybe that would get more people in. But yeah, and usually with the updates, whenever I post stuff, it's usually during the streams. I don't really post too much throughout the week. I just check to see if anybody has any questions or quickly log into Discord. I'm like, oh, okay, let me answer this. Yeah. All right. I've painted some of the moss, some of the mulch areas where the trees should spawn on. Let me do a little bit more around here. And I'm gonna try and resimulate the trees. In that case, let me delete the instance foliage, instanced foliage actor. Okay, so I'm gonna remove all of these. Hopefully, I've reduced that area, so hopefully it's gonna simulate it really quick because I wanted to remove the logs. So the logs are also part of the instance, the procedural foliage. But the order that I do these is I simulate the trees first, then the undergrowth and the rocks. Like the undergrowth being like logs, and then rocks, and that's kind of the order that I'm currently doing this in. So for example, if I go ahead and I look for trees, let me see which one that is. I think I named it PFS or procedural foliage. Is that? I thought that was a, what did I call it? Oh my God. Maybe let's start with foliage. Foliage trees, backdrop. Oh, PF tree. Okay, well that's good to know. Sometimes I do feel like there's so many things going on that I might start losing track, but all right, so let's resimulate this. Yeah, and another way to look at this is, as you can notice that this is where kind of I sculpted the terrain up, and like, there's this very smooth little joining between the surface and the terrain. So I think that looks pretty well. All right, well, let's try, and actually I'm gonna paint this a little bit more because I had the tool strength set pretty low, and I think that's why there's not that I didn't get to paint it over on this side. And I can also, since we're doing it, I might just do it around here as well. All right, well, let's try and simulate this one more time. So PF underscore tree, there we go. It's resimulating, resimulating. Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, that actually made it quite a bit better around this little parking area here. There's uh there's some trees that have been spawned, and we'll need to do a little bit of cleanup. I might want to have some more around, like closer to the parking area. Let's finish off with the terrain, and I wanted to paint this first, kind of where we don't want grasses growing, through the road. I don't usually like that very much. And this stuff here, kind of putting it in like that. So as the games stand, the frame rate in this world, which is very unoptimized, is around 35-ish, and that is with the the world grid with the world partition. So I think I've shown previously that some of these level instances are on separate grids depending on how big the assets are. And that's what I'm trying to set up across the entire thing. There's still a bunch of stuff to be done, but yeah, that's around where it stands. That is an editor. I haven't built it in a while, but I'm hoping to build it within the next couple of weeks and actually test it out. But also um, with some of the NPCs in as well. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's I'm actually and and like I said, that's why I want to keep it on this 1070 because on 2070 or 3070 it would probably close into 60 easy. But yeah, I wanted to keep it on this. Well, I wouldn't call it outdated, but just like grandparent video card. So that's if that makes sense. And I'm hoping, like I said, there's as you can see, there's a ton of actors in the world, and that's not what I want. There is once you go into game mode with the world partition, there's a, 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 a much smaller number being loaded, which helps with performance quite a bit. But there's still quite a few other things that I can optimize on, like especially when it comes to like the interior assets, which are very small. Those should be on a grid that is only rendered when you're really close. And I've only done that for one level so far, like that parking area. But all the other ones are still being loaded. There's still all the assets being loaded uh, on that one grid, because they're set on that one grid. So that's a main thing to do. Okay, that's starting to look like the edge of a parking lot. And that's also one of the reasons that I wanted to get all these levels in place so that I can start placing them on their respective grids and start figuring out which ones I need to split into like um, large assets level, medium asset level, and then small asset level. And that's what I have done for that parking lot area, and that was a pretty good test, which I'm pretty happy with. So I just need to do that for like, the houses. Those should be on a medium level probably. And also the houses, since this package with the residential houses is a modular package, they have they're built out of old, you know, let's call it Lego bricks, right? They're built out of a bunch of pieces, which increases the number. I think that level has a a lot of several thousand actors, and that's one that I need to break down into and kind of, merge the walls together, have the interiors separated, to be rendered up close. And I hope that should help with performance as well. But yeah, it's a process. Okay, so I wanna, oh, shoot, I wanna sculpt. Yeah, definitely a process. It is. But it's fun, that's I think that's the main thing to it. And this has been um I've had some work was somewhat busy for some of these past weeks, and this has been a great um escape, after work. This is just perfect. Oh, hey, Ghost Starts. You know what? I really love the game you're making. The vibe really reminds me of Days Gone and Far Cry 5. That's, I'm not sure if you've joined previous streams, but that's exactly it. That's the type of game that I love. Far Cry 5. And I was a holdout with Far Cry 5 and Days Gone for years until I was like, okay, I found it on sale, and I'm like, okay, let's try them out. And I just fell in love with them. I don't usually do like a completionist type of gameplay, but those two games, I was like, okay, side missions, because it's so enjoyable, like the environment, I love it. And the kind of the characters in the game were awesome. Those games were definitely and I've been working on this project since, before those games, and I knew this is what I wanted to do. But then, playing those games, I got some more inspiration for like, a little bit of the environment as well. And that was great. So thank you, Ghost Hearts. That's exactly it. And Atlantica, yeah, the game dev is an escape, exactly. And winter comes along, I'm gonna be using it even more because it's just gonna be sitting inside. And I don't really play video games that much. I enjoy doing this more than playing video games. Yeah. And actually, speaking of video games, um, the Dead Island 2 was on sale. I'm not sure if it still is on the Epic Store. And that's another video game that, because I mean, I'm a fan of zombie games. Let me be, yeah, I'm a fan of zombie games. I love them. And yeah, that was on sale. I hope it still is. And that's also a game that actually I really enjoyed it very much. Yeah. Oh yeah, Atlantica. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So I but then again, there's some of these games that I get so much enjoyment out of playing that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a break from my game and just play this play this like it, now has been Dead Island 2. And because it was a lot of fun, and I do like zombie games. Let me let me be honest about that. I do like zombie games, but and playing the other Dead Island games, Dying Light, the Days Gone. That's those are my type of games. That's exactly it. Single player games. If there's a um the zombie kind of games I like. I don't like the horror type of games. Like the Alan Wake, the psychological kind of games. I don't like that. I just, want to get in, have some fun, have a story, behind it, and, you know, that kind of stuff. Hey, Trida, bienvenue, bienvenue. Ça va? Everything's okay, yeah. Oh, do tell about the horror game. Which one you found out? Oh, Ghost Starts. Yeah, I've been following you for a while. You mentioned those games earlier. Yeah, yeah. And that's exactly, I'm not sure why, but I do love the conifer slash pine trees. And there's a ton of conifer types, like there's the red, or I'm not sure what but the one with the little really tiny needles. But I do like these types of conifers, with this type of branch, like the Christmas tree, right? I think these are pine, like northern pine or something like that. But um, but yeah, that's what I like about and and there's given where they're taking place, with Days Gone. I don't think they specify. I don't remember if they specify a location, but I know with Far Cry 5 they do specify Montana, and that's pretty much, if I remember, uh, when I was in Yellowstone, that's pretty much how it looks when it comes to vegetation. Maybe, um, you know, and also another thing to consider is you only sometimes you only have to work with what you have to work with, right? And you got to take that into account as well. And maybe they were like, okay, we have all these options of trees, but this one performs better than the other one. And what are we gonna go with? Let's go with this type of biome. So I totally get that. Oh, Cordosis. Yeah, I've seen that. I think I've seen a trailer for that. That actually looks really, really awesome. Like, I'm not sure about the gameplay. I mean, I'm probably gonna check it out because when it comes to, there's definitely a lot of horror games that I can think of, and Scorn. Not sure if anybody heard of Scorn, but Scorn comes to mind, and that was I kept on following that game since it first came out, and I'm like, oh, this is like an HR Geiger, HR Giger. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, but homage, type of video game. And yeah, that was interesting to see. And fortunately, I don't think it did very well, at least maybe not as well as some might have expected. But from an art standpoint, it was impressive, I have to say. It was pretty impressive. Oh, and Choo Choo Charlie, yeah, that was another really interesting game, and I believe it was also made by a single developer. And let's see, Ghost Arts. That's actually a great question. Imposters for trees. They I'm gonna have to excuse myself because I don't really know the difference between imposters and billboards. These are billboards at the moment, if I recall correctly. Yeah, they're billboards. And I'm not sure, is the imposters like a better performance? And they don't clip. The trees do not clip. The smaller vegetation does, but the trees don't. Okay, well, actually, this is starting to turn into like a parking lot. Yeah. Uh, okay. I'm okay with that. Actually, I'm quite okay with that. And let's fix the terrain around it a little bit better. It's kind of messy. And what we'll do is we'll use the same parking lot because it's useful. It's there. And also as level instance, and I'll use it on that side where the cave system is, and we'll also play around with creating like a path, maybe like some fences to kind of guide the player a little bit. Yeah. Okay, what do I want to use here? Let's go with the flatten for now, at least for the area close to it. Like around here. I'm going to try and adjust this. Because I've been hearing about imposters for for some time, and I just didn't really know what they can do. Yeah, and this is also this level is another example of some of this modular stuff where joining all these into one piece should help with performance, I think. Okay, so let's paint a little bit of the grass around here as well, around this edge, around there to help with that blending. That looks much better. And let's fix this area here. And then we can smooth it out. And of course, that's for now, but we'll definitely add maybe some of those big boulders in here just to create like a kind of a terrain feature type of thing. But the parking lot is in place. It's pretty well blended into the terrain, with some of the vegetation around it. We could use, let's actually paint this barren area here. Let's do some mulch and get some trees in there. And this also is a layer that does not have distance blending. And mostly the distance blending I was using for these big kind of mountains in the background, so that way, it's not doesn't look like it's uh, a high tile type of thing. Oh, I see, I see. Yeah, that's actually thank you so much, Ghost Arts. That's something that I need to look into. It's been on my mind for a while, but I don't think I ever got the motivation or the push to look into it. So thank you. All right, where are the trees? Let's resimulate this and see if we can get some more trees spread around this parking lot. And I think I should have jumped onto the other side as well, where the parking lot would have been, and got some of them in there as well. All right, yeah, that's actually pretty cool now. There's some of the shade coming in from the tree, from that big one over there, and some of the other ones around here. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So that's in place. I'll need to kind of refine these, just, minor adjustments. Like these are kind of this little edge, and I'm really just being picky at this point. But get that in. Okay, and now I have this one here, this level instance, and this is going to be, um, what should I call this? It's a small parking lot, maybe. Parking one, and let's duplicate that. See if it's as easy as I hope it is. Yep, there we go. And let's move the pivot to this and place this where we were planning for in the beginning. So we got a little bit sidetracked with placing this other parking lot, but let's get this down here. Let's see, kind of from a size standpoint, where might it fit better? Weird, this shader still hasn't compiled. Odd. Yeah, and that's no, I think imposters, three dot imposters are still there. It's a matter of which one you ended up going with. Like I said, the only thing is, I don't know which one performs better, the billboards or the um, the imposters. Yeah, yeah, that's a good thing to think about, actually. All right. Well, I think this one should work out pretty nicely on this side. And yeah, it already, as you can see, it already works out pretty nicely with the terrain. I'll need to sculpt it down a little bit, but yeah, it seems to blend in pretty good. So I'm gonna try and place this as close as I can over there. All right, let's jump back into the terrain. Hmm. And from a visual standpoint, actually, I need to look it up and see how does it, from a visual standpoint, how does it differ from the other option, from the billboards? Hmm. Okay. So I'm wondering in that case if it's like 3 die is saying if it's more if it might be better for mobile. I mean, not that as a we use a lot of um, we, I don't think as Unreal community uses Unreal too much for mobile development, but I'm wondering if it would be helpful for that. right, so almost, let me see. I think this one we might need to do a flattened target a little bit lower, maybe minus 700. Let's try that. There we go, like right around where the edge of this is. Hmm. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I remember that. You're right. Because I think because thank you for reminding me about that, the medieval environment. I remember looking at that and I'm like, oh, damn, this is the shader for this. So I think that's what put me off a little bit as well. But yeah, thank you so much for mentioning that. And in all honesty, that environment wasn't really something to showcase from a performance standpoint because it was like a ton of draw calls. But yeah, it was interesting to look at actually. I think I actually got something learned. I managed to learn something from that project, as is usually with some of these epic projects. There's a lot of useful stuff there. You don't need to necessarily use them, but but they end up having some very useful info. That's why before 2016 it was useful, but now, and I think I'm not sure how old. That's a good point. I'm not entirely. I can't remember how old that project is. This medieval one that's introduced them. All right, so the parking lot is almost in place. I'm trying to adjust some of these cliff meshes around here. There we go. And I'm just gonna save because sometimes, Unreal. And let's resimulate these trees, but on this side I wanted to paint some more mulch. And I think on that side we're fine. All right, let's simulate the trees. And I mentioned something about Dead Island 2 because another reason that I really wanted to play it is because it's made with Unreal, and I really wanted to see kind of how it looks, how it performs, and yeah, it performs beautiful. It Yeah, I get it. There's like individual levels, for all the areas in LA. Like the studios. I'm not sure if anybody played it yet, but the game is a lot. Like I really enjoyed it, and it looks beautiful. Like I mean, I have to give it to the developers, and I guess it's also Unreal, Unreal a part of it. It's gorgeous. But one of the things that I really like looking at, and you you might find it funny, is the asphalt, like the streets, because they're so well made. It's um, it's actually pretty awesome. And I just kept looking at it, and I'm like, how did they put this? Where does the decal start, and where does it end? This decal is so like it almost looks like they took photos of the areas, but I think it might be a blend of decals and textures. I'm not entirely sure, but that was one of the things that I'm not sure why sometimes, because asphalt is kind of a flat surface that goes along. When it comes to vegetation, it's kind of broken up by trees, but when it comes to this flat surface like asphalt, you know, you don't want to you want to try and make it uh, different, from like this point to this point. And I, you know, in my novice attempt was with these decals, right? But and they work out, but not as how it looks with Dead Island. I mean, it's in its own little level, and that's a small thing, right? But I don't know why it's just stuck with me, and I had to mention that. Let's see. So Ghost Hearts. One thing I'm really interested in. Not sure if you're comfortable with that, but what is the story of? So the plane crash and the story. Yeah. So the story in a nutshell. You once you crash, and I mentioned this, you can crash in three different locations. You will start getting the first mission, and that's when you actually need to rescue a couple of these friendly NPCs. And of course, depending on where you start, you might approach it differently. But as much as I can tell about the story, so there's these bad guys that have kind of taken over this location, right? And through interacting with the NPCs, you'll get a little bit more of the backstory on, why they're there, why these people have to hide from these, bad guys. And along with the missions, like you're gonna get sent to uh, some of this um some of this facility here, and what are they doing over here, Like this is kind of a containment area to hold some of these friendly NPCs. Why are they being held there? And what you'll find is, there's like some quarantine tents around here, and all this thing has been built around this water supply system that's kind of here. And they've been taking people to be quarantined here. But that's all I'm gonna say. There's some other parts of the story that you're gonna find as once you get here, right? But at the start of the game, you only know that these people are trying to hide from the baddies, and hopefully that gives you a little bit more of an idea of what's going on without kind of saying, I mean, saying everything. Because yeah, this is the part that you'll see me working on, and I'm like, hey, what's that quarantine tent doing there? And that's what it's for. Hope that gave you a little bit of a breakdown. Oh yeah, yeah, no problem. That's happy to share. And here is another example here, of the blend with terrain thing. So this little this little transition, wouldn't it benefit from blending with the terrain quite a bit? What do you think? Let's give that a try and see how it turns out. Let me first I want to finish painting the little grass area around this part here, just so that it doesn't look so. And then some of the mulch actually is what I wanted to, and mixed it in with some of the grass like that. There we go. Okay. Yeah, let's see if I turn these little blocks into like the sidewalk, because I believe it is not using one of my shaders anyway, so I'm gonna need to update some of these as well. And this one is gonna be physical material of concrete as well, just for the audio. And then it's gonna be a master regular, I think is what I named it. There we go. And let me just quickly fix the texture there. So yeah, so would it be Ghost Arts you're asking? So would it be more like environmental storytelling, like notes and all, or would it be like dialogues to direct the players? It's going to be dialogues. So I'm not sure if you've seen the way, since I'm trying to have as little to as little time as possible on not as little time as possible, but I want to have a minimal UI. Currently the emissions are given to you via voice. Yep. But and I'll share the tool that I'm using. I'll share with you so you can take a look at it. And you have like and I think this has been used in other games as well. You have like a wrist tablet where you can look at it and get kind of a compass that directs you to where the next mission is, as long with the description of it. But also when you interact with the NPCs, since I'm going to have NPCs in the world, they're going to have like the facial animations along with the audio. And let me put a pause here real quick and I'll share with you. So for the audio, I'm using this tool called Replica Studios, which has it's kind of it's AI generated, but with some actual voice actors that have been recorded, and they actually they actually turn out really good. And using the audio from that, I'm using the MetaHuman SDK, is the name of it, to generate the lip sync. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully that gave you a little bit of an idea on how I'm dealing with that. Maybe that will help you. Okay, so back in here, I have this, and what we need to do is commit, excuse me, let me get some water. Okay, all right, let's commit the changes. Okay, so now onto this. Let's see if we blend it with environment and see how that turns out. Did I not? Does it not work with something that is not in the world? That's actually, no, it should, because it works on this, but why not on this one? Did I not use the right one? So let's see, this one, yeah, has that material, but why doesn't it update? Let's try this out here. Commit the changes, and it is blending with the environment. Let me try and regenerate that. Sometimes if you have a runtime virtual texture, like the volume, you might need to move it up and down to regenerate it. So I'm hoping that that will help with this. Let's see. Huh. Not so much, but why for this one? Yeah, go starts. Let me know, and you can message me on Discord. We can if you run into any trouble, and as well check out MetaHuman. It's MetaHuman SDK, and I think they just released an update for 5.3. I need to check it because I want to update to 5.3 as well. Hey, Forbin, welcome, welcome. How are you? All right, this is what the heck does it not? Does it not have the blend with the environment here for this guy? Because I have updated it. All right, so it is affecting. I've updated the shader. Should be good, but it's not doing much for the blending. It's kind of interesting why that one particular doesn't do it. Oh, good, good. Just working in Unreal Engine 5. Yep. That's what we're doing here as well. Welcome, welcome to the fun. Yeah, which I'm trying to figure out at the moment why this particular asset is not blending with the environment. Why? And it should, because I'm seeing, so this is one of the reasons I mentioned that this runtime virtual texture works best for like flatter assets. And I'm not sure how to fix it, is like on the vertical and on the vertical sections, you get this kind of weird blending. And yeah, still don't really know why that's happening. But um, I don't get it why this one is not blending with the terrain properly. Like, see how this one is, and it's the same thing, you know? But this particular mesh, it doesn't like the blending. That is kind of interesting. So usually with my shader, the way I have it set up is if I run into issues like this, there's also like a pixel depth offset that I can use. And that will also, that should help with that, as you can see right there, it helps with that transition quite a bit better. Or, I mean, I wouldn't say better, but it's another option, a lot less shader intensive, shader heavy, so to speak. But um, but yeah, it does help with that there, as you can see, like right around here. So I might just end up using it because I'm not entirely sure why the blend with environment doesn't really work. If it's like a mesh thing or what that might be about. Oh, I think I know what that might be about. And so I have two master materials, one that's for exterior and one that's for interiors, because in the material itself, you need to specify, there's no way to specify it as a parameter, the particular runtime virtual texture. So now I just realized that I'm actually not using the right material. So my bad. Hold on a second. And that is exterior, I believe. There we go. It should be this one, I think. Let's see if this one works better. And let's turn on blend with environment and see if we get anything out of it. Ah, there we go. So it is blending with the environment, but I am thinking I might use because the values. So I have set a set of values in here for like the bias, the distance, the power, and let me turn on pixel depth offset. But for this one, let me try reducing the distance and the bias as well. So yeah, see this one seems to be working a little bit better. And let's set it to 5 maybe, blend power of 1. But I also need to, yeah, so like I said, with this layer having that distance blend, it doesn't work so well. And that's why I'm thinking, as much as I would like to have this, because it would look like this. So let's paint in like a one that doesn't have this distance blend issue, right? So it look actually kind of okay. Let me turn this. I think it might be the bias that is not working out so well. And the distance. But then what I would have to do is actually sculpt the terrain so it doesn't reach that high. And I'm not sure if that's worth it when that pixel depth offset actually looked pretty good, you know. So I think I might just, for this particular use case, I might just use the pixel depth offset because that one actually worked out pretty good, you know. And it's kind of blending in into a concrete surface. So I think it should be fine. I can, bump this up if I need to, not too much, but something like that. And it still works out pretty well, I think, to give that kind of smooth blending between these surfaces. And I don't have to deal, especially here, since I don't want vegetation growing on top of this, it seems to work out pretty well with the blending. Okay, and now I just need to do the same for this particular material. Not sure, I think they're using the same texture, but it's on a separate material. So this one, I'm gonna do the same update of the material. All right, and then let's do the same thing, just go with the pixel depth offset. There we go. That's pretty good. And let's commit the changes to this level. There we go. Okay, so it works out pretty well as well with the pixel depth offset. They blend in quite nicely. All right, let's bring in the those where was I? Down here, the the decal. Sometimes whenever you place these decals, the little icon might go under the terrain and then you can't see it. So I need to revert um, to wireframe. All right, where's the parking lot? Oh, it's on this side. And now I need to figure out, oh, I actually kind of brought them pretty close. Try and place them as close as possible, and then we'll do some fine adjustments. Okay, that's gonna work, I think. All right, for like the initial placement, it works out. There we go. Okay, that's pretty good. Just through some decals and some things being placed there. Cool. Well, to for the kind of to end the stream, what I wanted to do is actually set a path from kind of the parking lot going from through here and kind of somewhere in the open plain here where kind of you can go around and enter the cave. So let's do that. The one thing that I wanted to try using, and I think I've shown this in the past, is well, first, let's actually create a landscape spline to help with the sculpting of the terrain where this path would be. And I want to see how that's gonna turn out. Because it's, so far we've done some of these, we've used the landscape spline to sculpt for roads, but not so much for something that's narrow, like a pathway or something like that. Now uh, the the one thing that I'm debating on this because I wanted the path to kind of, they're not actually, they're pretty straight. If you think of, like the paths through like a kind of a walking trail, so to speak. And I was kind of thinking of doing like not a zigzag, but like a trail that's a little bit, has a little bit of noise to it. It's not completely like, smooth and just curves and stuff. But the trouble with that is then sculpting the terrain on a landscape spline is not going to work out very well. And so there's that. But let's try with the landscape spline first and see how that's going to turn out. Let's go into here to manage splines. And I'm going to start kind of around here at this corner and start placing them along here. Let's see what might make it a little bit more interesting. Maybe going around this big rock here. And around here. We'll kind of spawn some trees in this big area. Okay, I think that should be pretty good. Kind of twisty bits. Cool. Let's see how I'm gonna try and get these the half width to be smaller. So let me see 200. Okay, 200 might work. Let's sculpt this out. And that's kind of okay. I think the fall off might be too big. So let me try and bring this down a little bit. Yeah, the only thing with that, um, and I think this is, I'm not sure if this is 5.2-ish. I did not have this trouble in 5.1 where it doesn't seem to update once you sculpt it. So it doesn't and it doesn't do it in real time, not for me at least. Not sure if that's something that other people might have run into. But it turned out okay. You know, that's looking pretty good, I think. All right. I think like a wish list for these landscape splines. I'm not sure if it's even if it's possible, to be honest with you, is painting painting a landscape layer on top of it, you know? But yeah, not sure if that's something that's possible. So, but anyways, I have the landscape sculpted, and for this for this spline, and what I'll do is I will try and, since I was mentioning trying to get that path to be a little bit not wavy, but you know, not very smooth and curvy, but a little noisy. So I'm going to try and paint alongside here, and let me see if I can find, that's a good thing to see if I have one of those textures that is kind of like a noisy line. Not sure if I do, but we'll take a look and see what I can find. And yeah, so there's something like this, but that doesn't really work out. I mean, I might end up making something in Photoshop, but actually this one looks interesting. At least that's a good place to start, I would say. Because, you know, I don't want something straight like that, but let me see if there's anything else that accidentally I might have. I think this one was the closest one. So let me see what this can do. So I want to paint the path because that one doesn't have any vegetation on top of it. And let's see now what if it's gonna, am I painting? Am I not painting? Where is my gizmo? Oh, there it is. Mm, yeah, it's just too, um, it doesn't, like I see like this stuff I like, you know? Like this is what I was thinking of, or maybe something like this. So let's try and export this. I'm going to export this into and try and edit it through Photoshop for a little bit. Hey, Chadi, how do you have the will and patience to work on such big projects like this one? Don't you feel some days like it's too much and you want to do something different? Oh yeah, totally. That is definitely the case. It doesn't happen too often, thankfully. I think the main motivation Um, if I should I call it motivation? The main kind of advantage to game development is that there's so many things to it. You know, so many um, so many things to work on. Or, like if you get bored with with it, if you get bored with programming, you can jump into it and do something like we're doing now. If you get bored with this, you can do some AI, and it's kind of that's I think the nice part about it, and that's why it keeps it interesting. That's what I like about it, and you don't get bored by it. And of course, there's times when I take breaks, like it happened with Dead Island 2. I took a break for 2 or 3 days when I was playing the game, and I didn't do anything on my game. So yeah, I mean that's totally fine. It can actually help you. Like you get some ideas, and that's what worked for me. Hopefully that gives you an answer, Chatty. Ghost Arts, have you sculpted the whole landscape or broad height map from landscape? Yeah, well the landscape itself is from. I'm trying to remember where it's from. It's from a very old package that I had, um, like a landscape, like a marketplace package. It's not something that I've only sculpted it around my area, like the playable area where I have things. And this this was because it felt really small in the beginning, like the original map that I had. And that was also from the original sculpting of the map was from that Nordic conifer biome because I kind of liked the waviness of it. But what I did is I took that in and I blended it into this bigger mountainous areas, because like that 2 by 2 kilometers, it felt like when you got to the edge, it's kind of like, oh, I'm at the edge. I can definitely tell I'm at the edge of the map. There's nothing beyond that. With this one, it feels more like there's these mountains in the distance. I know I can reach them, but it's something there, right? All right, well, let's create um, let's do I think this texture doesn't have to be too big, so 1024 by 1024 should be fine. And in here, in this one, let's try using this piece here. All right, so let's fill that in with black. And then this one, whoops, no, not that, this one. I'm gonna try and kind of keep it there. And let's make it like that. That should be, hopefully it's gonna be more visible, a little bit more thickness. And with that said, let me try and save this as, where is it? And here. And just gonna do a JPEG path underscore alpha. Okay. Hoping I saved it in the right place. There we go. Okay, let's bring this in. Let's see. So Go starts. Is adding spline roads always destructive? Um, well, it's eh, yeah, it is. I mean, even when before I had these kind of I wouldn't necessarily call it issues, but I had some difficulties with the road tool in 5.2, it once it sculpted the terrain, it was sculpted. You know, like you could have removed the landscape spline, but it was still sculpted that way. So unfortunately, to my knowledge, it is it is destructive. I wish I could tell you more, but that's that's all I know about it as well. Okay, let's bring this in. Let me see, where do I want to place it? Assets, textures, and this one. Okay, since I don't have anywhere else, I'm just going to put it right here. Okay, so this is how it looks now. More of a wavy type of path, a little noisy. Let's see if this one actually can paint anything around here, if it, or I need to make that line a little thicker. Oh, you can actually see it. That's good. So there is something painted. Let me do the auto rotate because I don't like that. And I was kind of hoping that I'd remember what the thing is. I think this might need to be a little bit thicker. It's so, as you can see, it's painting something, but it's just not painting it the, quite the right way. It might be a little bit too noisy because I might need to make this a little larger. So let me see if I increase this. Yeah, see, it's kind of just a little spotty. Like I can click it a few times, but it's not quite perfect. So let's try doing this again. And I might use this one here, or this one seems a little straighter. Let's try that out. So grab this. I am not in the right layer. And let's bring that in here. Okay. Okay, yeah, I wanted to do levels on this one. Oh, not the right one. Oh shoot, I had something. I had like a little pixel selected there, so it was, I think it was doing it on that. All right, let's try this one more time. It's the other way around. Oop, there we go. All right, and then I believe, where was the layer styles? Um, was it double clicking? Yeah, double clicking. Okay. So in here, let's try and get the, what was it? Was it stroke? Nope. I thought it was like, I think I might need to merge it into this. Let's see. Merge layers. Oh, what was the thing of this? Oh, thank you, 3 Die. Yeah, I think that's what I want to end on with is going to be, adding this path or at least trying to get this path in there. We'll see if it actually works. But now that I'm thinking of it, I might want to kind of turn it down like this. There we go. Oh, I think what needs to happen here is, let me see if I recall correctly. Let's do highlights. Okay. Ah, come on, GeForce. Okay, let's see if I do this. Copy. All right, so there's that. And I think on this one, I might be able to do the stroke. There we go. That's it. That's what I wanted to. I think that's what I wanted to do. And then I can make this kind of like that. And also, yeah, let's see if that does it. Let's save this as, and where was it? JPEG. Let's replace this. And let's re-import it. And yeah, there we go. So now it looks more like a path. Let's see if it's gonna paint anything. So there's the path. Yeah, so see that's kind of what I was looking for. Now you get this path alongside here, and I can adjust it to actually follow the terrain as best as I can. I wish there was I can't remember which one was the I think there was like a shortcut or like a key that you can press to rotate this around, but I might be wrong. So there it goes. I'm kind of going that way a little bit. And I'm really curious to see once I regenerate the trees around this area how that's gonna turn out. And where was it? Yep, let's rotate this. What was the shortcut for this? This would have been so useful, but luckily there's not a lot of these that I need to do, so that's good. All right, so one going this way, then we're gonna kind of turn around, go around this mount here, like this, and kind of follow it along through here. And yeah, so sculpting the terrain that way definitely helped. And let's continue on. And that's what I meant by, having this path not be straight. It kind of gives it a little bit of variety. Well, let's actually flip this around, kind of like that. Maybe turn it a little bit more. There we go. Okay, that's better. So for now, that's in place. Let me paint a little bit of mulch around the path, and we'll get to generating some of these trees. Okay, where was that? I wanted to go into paint and back in here, but I wanted to use that noise. Just a dirt alpha, or was it grunge? Let me see. I can't remember the one that I used previously. Oh yeah, this one's it. Okay, and let me see where I want to paint some of this, like around here. Oh, I don't want to paint the path itself. I wanted to paint the mulch, so that way I can get the trees. So let's do mulch. Oh my God, come on. Select mulch, there he goes. So mulch around there and around here. All right, there we go. So that is almost in place. I guess I need to link it in here. I did not link this, but that should be easy to do. Well, let's do it. Since we're here, oh, I need to paint path. Hey, Chatty, yeah, thank you so much for stopping by. And like I said, I'll post on Discord if anybody's interested to join tomorrow, and I will definitely do my best to do another stream tomorrow. But yeah, in the meantime, for to end the stream, let's generate some vegetation and see how it turns out. I think I'm done with Photoshop. All right, where was my PF underscore tree? Small area. Oh yeah, cool. Thank you, Charlie. Have a good evening. All right, let's see how this turns out. All right, there we go. So we have this in here. I'm not sure how this guy ended up on the path, but that's fine. Or this guy. I don't think it has the, oh, I think I might have by mistake when I painted with that mask, it ended up onto the road. I'm not entirely sure why we get this issue with the mid maps. I did have that quite high for the streaming pool. That's a little bit of an odd thing. It just started. So 3 die maybe adding CVE panel at the start of this track near the parking. Oh yeah, and go figure. There it goes. Now it's working. Eh, I wonder what happened. But yeah, definitely at the start of the hike or of the trail, from here, I plan on designing like a little bit of a, kind of those uh, like you said, like a directional panel, right? Like pointing you towards, this is this way towards, the cave or something. And along the path, there's also, since I've already started placing these big boulders in here, there's going to be those along the way to direct you that way, to direct you to that. Yep. But yeah, that's what I wanted to try out and do is create the parking lot in here, right next to the road. Then down through here, try and sculpt the terrain and create this path, right? So kind of the path going around here and to that. So that worked out. And I think that's going to conclude the stream for today. Went a little bit longer than usually the usual 2 hours. Thank you everybody so much for stopping by. And like I said, I'll post on Discord and also schedule it on YouTube uh, if I end up streaming tomorrow. And I hope I will. I should be able to. But yeah, thank you again so much everybody for joining, and we'll see you on the next one. All right, take care everybody.